before you take the plunge into starting your own business, folks, make sure you know the true cost of being your own boss. We're learning more from Charles Schwab Vice President and Financial Consultant Michael Bonds. Mike, always a pleasure to see you.
It's great to be here.
I love the festive tie, my friend.
Christmas tie. It's not an ugly sweater, but hopefully it works out.
I think it's better, man. I love it.
Jerry Garcia and I are good friends.
Yeah. All right. Well, what are some of the things we're talking about starting up our own businesses, being our own boss? What are some of the things that people overlook in the planning phase when they're starting their own companies?
Well, it's nice to have, I mean, a lot of people start their own businesses because they have the freedom, right? The scheduling freedom and those types of things, but there are a lot of responsibilities, and financial responsibilities are a big part of that. And some of the things that people overlook, because most small businesses are started out of your house, right? You got to look at the different utility expenses that because you're going to be home all day, you're not going to be away to work, your thermostat's going to be a little bit higher, your water bill is going to be a little bit higher. But in addition to that, you got to think about all the things for the startup, for office equipment, computer software equipment, those kinds of things, and also tech support. Because when we work for big companies, we already have our in-house tech support. But you're going to need to farm that out, and you're going to have to pay those kinds of bills. So those are some of the things right off the bat that you got to look at right away.
Okay. Yeah, and like you said, it's things that we probably take for granted, but if the internet goes down, hey, buck stops with you. If you're your own boss. Well, so let's talk a little bit about some of the taxes, particularly Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes.
Well, this is a big cost. There's a lot of big costs. We'll talk about the benefits here in a few minutes, but when we're in an employee situation, our employer picks up half of the Social Security cost and the Medicare cost, but when you are self-employed, all that cost comes to you, right? Because and they put that under the byline of a self-employment tax. And so about 15.3% of your income up to $113,700 goes to Social Security. Another 2.9% of that goes to Medicare. And then if you are highly successful and you're making, say, $200,000 or more single, or $250,000 or more filing jointly, you have an additional surtax of 0.9% on top of that. So those are things you have to really think about.
Wow, okay. Well, then another big thing too, and one reason that a lot of people do stay with big companies is health insurance. So when we're going into, you know, the small business, our own business, what are we looking at when it comes to health insurance?
I wish I could give you the numbers on that, but it will be shockingly surprising to you because you're not used to having to pay those big bills. And when you have to go out and get your own policies, especially health care, it's a big buzzword right now. That's a big expense. If you're getting life insurance through your company, that's another big expense that you have to look at, especially if you're over 55. Even a term life can get quite expensive. The other thing you have to think about owning your own business is 401k plans. I mean, generally speaking, you don't have one, and there's no company match. There's none of that kind of stuff, so you have to be very vigilant about putting money away for retirement. I would suggest that you try to start up with some type of small business plans, and we've talked about this on the show before with simplified employee pensions, the SEP account. They're very easy to set up. You can put up to $51,000 a year into those. You can also look at individual 401ks. They're a little bit more extensive on the paperwork, but you can put more money into them. But if you don't do this for yourself, no one else will. That's one of the reasons why you have a business to begin with.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that you got to remember. The buck stops with you. Well, so what are some other important information that we need to know before we venture out and do it?
Well, you always want to have a good accountant that can help you with how to deduct a lot of these expenses off of your business income because they are deductible expenses for business. And if you need help with setting up any of these types of IRA plans, come and see us at Schwab. It's always complimentary. We'll be happy to sit down and visit with you and see which one's going to work out the most, because there's a lot of rewards for being your own boss, both personally and financially, but you do want to go into it with your eyes wide open and understand what the costs are going to be so that all of it's going to be very successful, because most of us start businesses because we're doing something we love doing.
Right, absolutely. And folks, put Mike in your corner, schwabmoneywise.com, or give him a call, 505-878-1320. Michael, always good to see you. Thanks for sporting Jerry Garcia Christmas tie. I love it, my friends. All right, take care.